And there we go. Good evening, everybody. My name is Eric, and I'm an alcoholic. And tonight, um, I'm going to just reread one of the first things that we read before I even start sharing on it. And it's that first person, the first. I got to get back to the forward. Forgive me. Hey, Derrick, could you do me a favor and time me so I don't go over? Appreciate you, brother. So I want to focus on this first paragraph to the forward to the first edition. It says, "This is the forward as it appeared in the first printing of the first edition in 1939. We of Alcoholics Anonymous are more than 100 men and women who have recovered from a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body." Um, and I just want to break that down as I read through this paragraph real quick before I turn it over to Derrick. When I first made it into the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, I came in here with a huge misunderstanding about myself and alcoholism. I came in here with the idea that alcohol, if you're an alcoholic, alcohol is your problem. And we hear it all the time. I've talked to people and you hear people all the time. They say, yeah, man, if you're an alcoholic, you just can't drink. And I want to pound the table and say that's absolutely incorrect. If you are alcoholic, you will drink, right? And that's the first step promise, right? That's the first step promise is if I don't find a solution, I am going to drink because I am powerless over alcohol. I lack the power to resist that temptation, that urge, that obsession that kicks in my mind. And if you hang in there with this as we continue to go through the books, if you don't know about the obsession, we're going to go through that in great detail. Um, but when I read this here, it tells me that we of Alcoholics Anonymous are more than 100 men and women who have recovered from a seemingly, see, it appears as though it is a hopeless condition. When I was sitting in these rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, I still felt hopeless. I didn't feel as though I had an answer. I didn't feel as though I had a solution. Now, I'm not saying that it wasn't being talked about in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous. I just wasn't hearing it. Whether it was being said or not, it was not coming into my ears. And that was most probably the resistance on my end, right? But the reality is that I didn't think that there was any hope. And I want to point out a couple of other things about this is that they talk about the mind and the body. I simply thought that the problem was the alcohol. And if I put down the drink and I just don't drink and go to meetings, I would be a winner, just like I heard in many meetings. And what happened to me was I put down the drink, I didn't drink. Somehow, through the grace of God, eventually I did go back out. I made it back in. Repeated that same pattern again. Don't drink no matter what. And I got even harder, more hardcore about it, right? And this is what happened. Sitting in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, I ended up a point where I wanted to put a bullet through my head. I became suicidal and homicidal, not drinking, go into meetings. And the reason for this is because I simply didn't have a solution for my problem. And the reality is I didn't know what my problem really was. I was misunderstanding the fact that alcoholism was not a drink problem. The drink was simply my solution, and the solution had been removed. It's one of the symptoms, right? The reality is in the first step, as I read it, is that the natural state of an alcoholic is irritable, restless, and discontented. And the way I'm going to treat that is by drinking. I will treat my alcoholism one way or another. I'm going to treat it with alcohol. I'm going to treat it in acting out in all sorts of crazy ways that we're going to talk about as the weeks go on, or I'm going to treat it through a spiritual solution. And what we're talking about here tonight and what we want to focus on in this meeting is the idea of the spiritual solution, focusing on that. So it tells me that we have recovered from a seemingly hopeless state of mind. Not just that we're recovering, but we have recovered past tense, that I am now in this position where I have recovered, right? I am no longer in that position where I am insane. I have been restored to sanity. This is what the book promises me as we go to it, through it, that I will be restored to sanity, that I will be placed in a position of neutrality, that I will simply be able to easily resist that temptation, that desire for alcohol. There's a reason for that because there's something fundamentally different about my mind and about my spirit that has occurred as the result of going through this book and following the directions in here. It goes on and says, to show other alcoholics precisely how we have recovered is the main purpose of this book. We just discovered what the main purpose of this book is to show other alcoholics precisely how the first 100 have recovered. And what they're explaining to us is that when they use that word precisely, they're telling us they're going to give it to us with detail, with precision, with exactitude, telling us exactly how to take each step, when to take it, at what point, and what to do next. See, I'm not a kind of guy that likes to follow directions. If I'm the type of guy, you tell me, hey, Eric, I want you to make some chicken soup. And the first thing I do, I'm telling you, I'm going to get some chicken. There's going to be some water. There'll be some vegetables. But guess what? I'm going to add some jalapenos to it. I'm going to try to spice it up. And once it's done, you're going to taste it. And you're going to say, what in the world is this? I'm going to say it's chicken soup. They say, no, brother, it's not chicken soup. There's no jalapenos in chicken soup. I don't know what that is. It's pretty darn good, but it ain't what I asked you to make. You didn't follow the directions. Read the directions. And that's the thing. And then I'm baffled. And then I wonder why things aren't working out, why I'm not recovering from alcoholism. But I have the solution and it's all laid right out here. And I'm telling you, I'm guilty of doing this for years sitting in the room because I did not follow these directions. And like in the forward, like in our preamble, we talk about having this someone who's in your life, someone who can guide you through this process, who's been through the process, who has had a spiritual awakening as a result of that, right? That's what I stumbled upon one day. See, I can look back over my recovery and I can tell you that while I struggled for a great number of years in these rooms, I can tell you that I was powerless over alcohol, and I meant that with 100% certainty. So the question becomes this: if I was powerless over alcohol and I simply didn't have the power of choice, how is it that I was able to stay sober all those years while not doing this, even though I was still in suffering? And that was simply because of the grace of God. It was simply because of the grace of God. But the grace of God will eventually wear out. I'm going to have to start participating in my recovery. And there was one evening when I wanted, in particular, it was very, very dark for me. And I showed up in this meeting, and this guy shows up and he has a shaved head and a rainbow colored rhino horn. And this man shares his message of depth and weight. And I'm telling you, I judged this man every time I saw him before I ever spoke to him. I thought he was some sort of freak. But when I went over to him and I asked him if he would take me through this process, take me through this book, that was the first time in my life that I had chosen to participate in my recovery. That's when I started to participate in my recovery and the trajectory of my life changed. And that man was able to take me through this book and show me the precision and the details, step by step, line by line, chapter by chapter. We went through this and my life changed. Says, for them, we hope these pages will prove so convincing that no further authentication will be necessary. I got to tell you, I spent a lot of time. Rainbow Streak story never told gets told. It's the truth, baby. The with this here, it says, for them, we hope that these pages will prove so convincing that no further authentication will be necessary. See, while I was sitting in the rooms, I was still looking for authentication because I still believed that I only had a drink problem. I didn't understand the alcoholism. But once it was explained to me what alcoholism really was and what it was that I was suffering from, as I started to go through this book, I no longer needed to go anywhere else. I no longer needed to go to self-help. Self-help was great. It was wonderful, but it wasn't working for me. I wasn't recovering. It wasn't treating my alcoholism. I didn't need to go anyplace else for any other authentication, and I didn't need to go anywhere other to any meetings to see people like Tony, Mary, Margaret, Howard, Derrick, and all the others in here, Donna L., the people that I love and know, to hear their experience, to hear them say, yes, this is the way that it was for me, and for someone else to say, my God, I can totally identify with that. And now I'm identifying with it. And if I'm identifying with that and them, and they're all identifying together, this is the spirit of there's a solution where we are a group of people that ordinarily would not mix, but we got two things in common. We suffer from the same thing, and we've got a way out that's exactly the same. And this is what binds us together, right? This is what binds us together. And I have found that I don't need any further authentication. I don't need to go anywhere else. I found everything that I need in terms of my recovery and my life right here in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous and in this book. We think this account of our experiences will help everyone to better understand the alcoholic. Many do not comprehend that the alcoholic is a very sick person. And besides, we are sure that our way of living has its advantages for all. As we get later into the chapters, when you get more specifically into the wives, one of the things that is assumed that, and they suggest they assume that the wife has read the book. Now we could say to the spouse, it could be the husband. We assume that they have read this book, and this is what we're referring to here. We think this account of our experiences will help everyone to better understand the alcoholic. Everyone better understand it, not just the alcoholic, but the family member who's dealing with the alcoholic, to understand just how sick we are, that we're not necessarily bad people, but we're very, very sick people, right? And that without some sort of spiritual help, without spiritual aid, we are doomed, right? And then it continues on. It says, many do not comprehend that the alcoholic is a very sick person, like my brother Derrick likes to say, and many don't. Many don't. How often have we heard that the ignorance of people when we're walking down the street, you see the guy on the street, he's slobbering all over himself, and they think, well, dude, look at his bum. Why doesn't he just get up and get a job? Look at this slob over here, but they have no clue that that person is most probably drinking because of something beyond their power, beyond their human aid. beyond their control. They're simply drinking because they have no other choice. They have to drink. They have to drink. And that's one of the biggest misconceptions is that out there in the real world, you hear people say, why does he like to do this? He doesn't necessarily like to do this. He's doing it because he has no other choice. And then I'm going to wrap it up with this and kick it off to my brother Derrick. And it says, and besides, we are sure that our way of living has its advantages for all. I got to tell you, I have an experience with this, and I'm going to share it very, very, very quickly. I've gone over 12 seconds or maybe longer. It's a countdown. Oh, no, it's almost at the end of my time. So I'm going to go over for 1 minute, Derrick. Hang in there with me, please. So I just want to share this experience that that what we have in this book does have its advantages for all. I have a brother-in-law who I'm very, very close with, and I love this guy and I adore this guy. And he was going through a very, very, very dark period of time in his life. He was struggling a great deal, and he uh, he asked me, he says, Eric, those 12 steps, that big book, the AA stuff that you've done that has changed your life so dramatically, is it possible for someone who's not an alcoholic to go through this? And I said, of course. He said, would you take me through it? And I said, absolutely. And it was a day later, I was in my car driving from New Jersey to Rhode Island to take him through the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. And we sat in his cold, frigid house because we were trying to rebuild this sucker and it was a hot mess. And we went through this big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. He did an inventory. He turned his will and his life over to the care of God. And when he went through this inventory, he was able to identify things in his own life the way that he was behaving that were objectionable. He admitted it and he was willing to give those things to his understanding of his power greater than himself. And I got to tell you that it works for people who are not alcoholic as well. This man's life has changed. He has a newfound strength and faith in his God and in his life, and his life is changing by leaps and bounds as a result of this. I want to thank everybody for coming here tonight. We were really, really excited, myself, very excited about this deal. And I hope that you guys hang in there with me as we progress through this, through the book, and that we can all grow and understand and have a great experience together. With that, I'm going to shut up and I'm going to kick it over to my brother Derrick. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Derrick Alcoholic, what up, my people? What up, y'all? Y5, Y5, Y5. First of all, let me thank everybody for being here tonight. You know, I can't do this by myself. Y'all know I can't. I need all y'all help with this book, and I'm glad y'all are all here to help this boy right here out. So, real quick, we're going to go to that other forward that we read, the forward to the second edition, that section right there on Roman numeral yeah, some Roman numeral. I guess what's that, like 19? I guess that would be 19. Yeah.
Starts on the bottom of Roman numeral 19.
Yeah, right at the bottom of Roman numeral 19. All right. So it says, while our internal difficulties or of our adolescence period were being ironed out, public acceptance of AA grew by leaps and bounds. Let's get into DeLorean. Go back to the future, y'all. Y'all want to ride with me? Let's go. So let's really, really look at this now. Before AA, drunks were dying. Drunks were considered the menace to society. We're coming out of prohibition where alcohol, we got Al Capone, we got all these things connected with alcohol destroying our country, right? And all of a sudden, that 100 men and women, and we know it was embellished a little bit. We know that, but we're still looking at that 100 men and women got together and said, we're going to carry this message to one another and to the sick and suffering. And they got together and the public saw the evidence of it, right? Oh, you mean to tell me mama came back home? Mama not out in the streets no more? You mean to tell me dad is going to work and picking us up and taking us to church? You mean to tell me uncle is showing up at the family reunion now and he's not plastered? He looks good, you know? You mean to tell me Annie ain't standing on the tables no more? You know, at the restaurant? What is going on? What is happening? Well, see, a couple of things. Think about this. Jack Alexander had wrote this article, in the Saturday Evening Post, and I got a copy of it up there. But in the Saturday Evening Post, but Jack Alexander came to a meeting just like this, right? To debunk AA, to say, look, I know y'all phony. I know it's something going on that ain't legit about it, right? I know there's something. Y'all doing something illegal, right? You know, because I know alcoholics. Alcoholics are schemers. They slimy. They ask to borrow money and never pay people back. I know that if y'all alcoholics, that's what's going on in them meetings, right? And what Jack Alexander saw, I don't know what they was doing in that meeting that he came to, y'all. But I want you to think about this conviction, right? You are responsible for this. You are. Whatever Jack Alexander heard was so powerful in that meeting that he went back and wrote an article that was so convincing that it flooded the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous. Now, look. I ain't trying to tell you what you should do or give you any type of authoritative direction, but just take a look at this, right? When it's your turn to share, when it's your turn to carry the message of Alcoholics Anonymous, could you do me a favor? Just in case I get caught off guard one day and that daily reprieve I take advantage of and I go back out, could you please share a message that's so powerful that if somebody is in this room right now, they wish they had the solution you had, even if they ain't alcoholic. They wish they had the joy you had, even though it ain't alcoholic. That your message you carry is so powerful, it can pull life into the dead. Your message. So let's run over here. It says for those two principal reasons, the large numbers of recoveries and the reunited homes, right? This made impressions everywhere of alcoholics who came to AA and really tried. Dig this. 50% got sober at once. That's the power in this book, right? That's the power greater than all of us put in this book. Whatever that is to you. This book right here has enough in it, enough authentication in it, like Eric said, that a very sick person could get in this book with another alcoholic and can recover and let me be legit and can get sober at once. Then it says and remain that way. And remain that way. That's what I meant to finish out. And remain that way. Not, oh man, I've relapsed again and I'm a chronic relapser. You don't have to ever pick up another drink another day in your life. No more, not never again. You don't. And not only you don't, you can help somebody else not to. You. 25% sobered up after some relapses. So you're going to have those who still try to find some type of authentication out there. Yeah, you're going to have that. But don't give up on them. I know that alcoholic, every time you turn around, they picking up another drink. Every time you turn around, well, I'm back at day one. Hey, y'all, I'm back at day one. I know, and I know it can get on your nerves a little bit. Hey, don't give up. Because you know that they can recover as well. And it says, and among those who remained, those who stayed with AA showed improvement. And that's what it, and look. The improvement, y'all know what that looked like. Y'all know what that improvement looked like. That improvement looked like I'm showing up. I'm trying to at least be here. I'm trying to participate. I'm trying to share. I'm trying. And that's all and look, we know this power greater than us. That's all this power greater than us need for them to to get it, for that light to turn on. I want to jump to one more forward before I pass it over to our Pooh Bear. I want to jump to one more forward. Run with me to Roman numeral 22. And I just want to get to the bottom, the last sentence in the forward to the third tradition. Each day, somewhere in the world, recovery begins when one alcoholic talks with another alcoholic, sharing experience, strength, and hope. Y'all, today, somebody decided, I need to stop drinking, man. I need to stop doing this to my life, y'all. Today is somebody's day one, y'all. Today, somewhere, is somebody's day one. You can help them. You are uniquely qualified to carry a message that will get their attention, hold their attention, and keep their attention for as long as they need. Y'all, I love y'all, man. I'm still learning to be humble, trying to stay teachable. Thanks for letting me share, y'all.
Hello, family. I'm Mary Margaret. I'm an alcoholic. And I just want to tell each and every one of you, thank you. Thank you so much for being here tonight. I just can't tell you how full my heart is that we are doing this. Like, I'm just so excited. And Derrick, I'm so glad that you did that bottom of page 22, Roman numeral 22, because working with other alcoholics, that is truly the bright spot of my day. Like I do it every day. And it is Bill and Bob were right. Like when all else fails, work with another alcoholic. But I don't just have to do it when all else fails. Like I do it because it is the bright spot of my day also. So I just love that you pointed that one out. So I'm going to move on quickly to the Ford of the fourth edition because when I came in 2020 as a result of COVID, I was quarantined to my house and I couldn't get to my Miller Lite. Now, Miller Lite was my best friend, my lover, my my food supply. Like I didn't eat, I drank. I mean, it was my everything, everything. And so um this forward to the fourth edition was like really important to me. And if you look at the top paragraph, this fourth edition of Alcoholics Anonymous came off the press November 2001. Well, that's when I had my first child. And I was not an alcoholic that was fall down drunk in 2001. I was a social drinker when it came to the liquid, okay? I know that I had some stuff going on up here. But as far as the liquid, I hadn't crossed that line yet. Um, but in 2001, as the stress of my life got bigger and bigger, so did the intake of that liquid. It was progressive because I didn't go to rehab until 2020. So that's how long it took me to surrender, to see the disease. Um, But just look at this. Since the third edition was published in 1976, worldwide membership of AA has just about doubled to an estimated 2 million or more, with nearly 100,800 groups meeting in approximately 150 countries around the world. You guys, that was 25 years between the third and the fourth edition, and it doubled. Like that is a mammoth, right? Um, and then if we skip down to the I guess the second paragraph, We are people who normally would not mix. And this is so true. This is so true. My heart just has, I mean, it has opened. I mean, look at who my husband is, y'all. I, I, I love him more than sliced bread. I, what, Derrick? I mean, it's obvious. Like, my children are like, "What, Mom? What's going on here?" And like, it's none of my business what they think. I love that man. I know that God sent that man to me. It doesn't matter the color of our skin. That is how my heart is open because he was divinely delivered to me. We are people who normally would not mix from the way I was raised and brought up. Like, and that's just how it is. But I don't live like that anymore. I am blessed to have him. It is just a pure blessing. Um, and the other thing I wanted to show you is that in my book is a first edition of the first printing of the fourth edition. And so my book says, currently Alcoholics Anonymous has been translated into 43 languages. That's what mine says. Now, some of you might have an asterisk on that line. And at the bottom, it might say 2019 AA is in 71 languages, or it might say 2021 AA is in 73 languages. So it just depends on when your book was printed, as according to what the verbiage is in your book. And so this book, our text, has been translated into an enormous number of languages. We are reaching alcoholics all over the world. But we're still probably at just the beginning of the number of alcoholics who need help. And that's our responsibility. Okay, on the next page, and then I'm going to be finished. The last paragraph where it talks about modem to modem or face to face, AA speak the language of the heart in all its power and simplicity. Y'all, that language of the heart, it gets me every time because I feel like, well, it has been my experience that AA is truly God inspired. It is that power greater than all of us inspired. That's what kind of program this is. And that God is at every meeting, and God speaks through you, and God speaks through me. And we do this together. And that is language of the heart to me. So I'm going to stop there because I think you already reset that timer. I'm sorry. I love each and every one of you. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Mwah.
Mary Margaret, thank you so much. Derrick, thank you so much, guys. Thank you both deeply and profoundly for this collaboration. I'm thoroughly looking forward to all the weeks ahead of us. So tonight, you guys, you know what we focused on tonight? We focused on the forwards. We focused on two specific paragraphs. The first paragraph from the forward to the first edition, and then that paragraph on XX in the second edition, and there were some other focuses. So that would mean that this is the introduction. This is the welcome card. You walked into the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous. You picked up the book. That means that everybody in here is qualified to speak here tonight. So with that, what I'm going to do, I know often we think we're going to go with raised hands, but we're going to start tagging people. We're going to call around people. Yeah, Tony, you know what's up. Now, I know a lot of people in this room. Please don't run away. You don't have to share if you don't want to. Just simply introduce yourself and then share your time. Please don't run away. Okay. And I promise you, I'm not going to call on, like my favorites. You know what I'm saying? Some of the guys that I know that I really, really love to hear all the time because there's a lot of people in here I have not heard before, and I want to hear from you guys too. So let's see. I'm going to go over to Patty S. in Puerto Vallarta. Would you like to come in, Patty?
Sure. Thank you, Eric, for calling on me. Every time I read these forwards, I'm just struck with a profound sense of a higher power that looks down upon a group of people that were hopeless and just showers grace. This is all about grace as far as that's how I feel about it. This is something I couldn't have done for myself, and it's something you couldn't have done for me. But together we do this, and it's been going on for a long, long time. And the other thing that strikes me is in reading the forwards is that the words come to mind, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I'm one of these people that I don't want to change anything in the literature. Because I believe what it says. I believe every word is inspired. I believe that all of it, even the pronouns and the adjectives, it's all there for a reason. And it's worked. Look at us all in this meeting. It works. And I am profoundly grateful that there are rooms like this to come to where we can share our experience, we can share the love that we have for each other, for this program and these beautiful steps. Thanks for calling on me, Eric.
Oh, you bet, Patty. Thank you so much for that share. We really appreciate you. We hope to see you again next week. How about my brother, Flash Mark? You want to come in, brother?
Sure, I appreciate it. Thank you. I'm Mark, alcoholic, grateful to be here. I'd like to say that my higher power brought me to this meeting through a friend. Oh God, I could sit here and talk a lot. AA and my sobriety, man, is my way of life. I found these rooms to be awesome because first of all, I don't have any transportation to get to face-to-face meetings or live meetings anymore. So these are it's a miracle how the world has evolved in my 29 years of sobriety. I started in 95, brokenhearted, tired. I felt like a dog chased my tail. Um, I I was ready. I cried for help, and I had a boss that saved my life. And she called me and said that she heard that I was doing drugs and alcohol at work. And I told her, I said, "No, Mrs. White, I'm not." And right there, I was lying to her. And then all of a sudden, I just started bawling like a little baby, you know. And she said, "What's wrong?" I said, "I'm tired. I feel like a dog chasing my tail. I need help. I'm tired of my life. I'm working 2 jobs. I'm going to college full time to support my habits. I'm a dual addictor. Um, that my life was a mess, and it's not like that now because I work to work. I do the steps on a daily basis because I have to, and I'm just so grateful to be here.
Mark, thanks so much, brother. We appreciate you. We hope to see you next week. How about my friend Donna with the blue walls? There's a couple Donnas in here. I wanted to make sure we get the right one.
Hi, everybody. My name is Donna, and I'm an alcoholic addict. I've been thinking about putting my last initial after my name because I do see other Donnas. But I am so grateful to the program of Alcoholics Anonymous. I was 23 years old when my aunt took me to my first meeting, and I am now 69, and I only have I have a 1 year and 5 months. I've been in and out of this program decades. One decade I was on antabuse. So, they for 10 years I was on antabuse, and they took me off of antabuse because it was beginning to bother my liver. And I begged them, please, please don't take me off of it because I'll drink. But they took me off and I drank. My problem with AA was I could not, would not, did not turn my will over to the care of God. You're talking about a super duper resentment. I held on to that resentment for dear life. God don't like me. I don't like God. I gotta find another God. And my other God eventually became money, and it wasn't very good to me either. But this time around, God came to me. I mean, I was talking to my cousin. I was complaining, no big problem. And she said what she always says that pissed me off was, Donna, pray about it. I sure in the hell didn't want to pray about it. But at that time when she said that, I swear, I felt this warm God's arms wrap around me. And I heard him in my ear say, you are not alone. And I fell to that floor and cried like a baby. And when I got up off of that floor, I had a God. I could now get sober. And I am truly grateful. I used to hear people, I'm grateful, grateful. And my thing was, what the fuck I'm sorry, what you grateful for, okay? Your bills ain't paid, your boyfriend did this, the kids acting up. I ain't got a thing to be grateful for. But I do today. I mean, God works in my life like, and I'm gonna say this, I'm shut up. It snowed. I live in Kansas. And the guy that used to shovel my snow last year moved. So I'm in a dilemma. I don't know anybody else that can shovel my snow. And I was at my home group meeting and I heard my neighbor next door shoveling my snow. That's God. And I was so grateful. I tried to give him money. He wouldn't take money. Well, when I get out again, I'm going to find something for him because I truly appreciate that. He didn't have to do that. But God let him do that for me. I didn't have to worry about it. That's what AA has brought me to. I don't have to worry about it so much. All I have to do is accept life on life's terms, and stop trying to change it and resenting it. So anyway, I'm grateful to be here. And Eric, thank you for letting me share.
You bet, Donna. Thank you so much for coming in and sharing with us. How about my brother Tom out there in Las Vegas? You want to come in, bro?
Sure. Hey guys, thanks for having me, Eric. I love the big book. I'm so
I
grateful
do
for
too.
Alcoholics Anonymous. God brought me to Alcoholics Anonymous, and Alcoholics Anonymous brought me to God. Those first meetings, the first editions, I remember when I was new, I never read them until I really got into the book with the sponsor and realized how important that is. I make my guys read, cover to cover, all the way through. And I love the word recovered. It starts out right away. And a lot of people always fight over that. Are you recovered or you're not recovered? It's like it says it in the book, recover from a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body. That's what I'm still always going to be an alcoholic. I get that. I suffer from alcoholism. As soon as I put the drink down, my alcoholism kicks in and demands to be treated. And so I'm so grateful that God used broken people like Bill and Bob to bring the message to broken people like me and everybody else that might be broken with alcoholism to find recovery, to become recovered, to help others. Because we can understand you. I understand your pain. I understand what it's like to be broken and beat down by King Alcohol, the great persuader, persuaded me to find God, to abandon myself because my ideas weren't working. And it's just an amazing program. And I used to go to AA and I never did any of the work and I never got any of the benefits. Oh, I went to AA, it didn't work, and until I was persuaded into I got nothing else. I haven't tried AA. That Jack Alexander, he's a muckraker. He was looking for an angle. He thought we had some scam, like a pyramid scheme. And I can't believe, like, that was his thoughts. We're going to expose AA. And that's such a turning point for our organization. He wanted to let people know what a sham we were. And his article made things so much better. So I really appreciate the time here with you guys. 50% recovered right away and 25% after that. Those numbers still can be true for those who. Thank you.
Amen. Thank you for that, Tom. Great share, brother. I love you, man. Good to see you. Let's see. How about my friend Donna L in Florida? Would you like to come in? Caught you by surprise. I saw you. You were sleeping.
You did. Us Donnas are representing here tonight.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody. My name is Donna, and I'm an alcoholic, and I'm grateful to be here tonight. Grateful to be sober, and thank you, folks, for putting this meeting on. I appreciate your time and dedication, the service that you do for your recovery and all of ours. And I loved all the shares tonight. And I can't remember what Mary Margaret said she was drinking, like a Michelob or Miller or whatever. And I was thinking, like, for me, it was like old Milwaukee out of a straw. It was so disgusting, because I just needed a buzz and it was poor. It was just so gross. I hadn't thought of that in a long time. But so much came to mind tonight, a little bit of what other people have touched on. I was thinking about, it says in the back of the last page of the forward to the first edition, we're interested to hear from those who are getting results from this book and who have commenced work with other alcoholics. We want to be helpful in such cases. And I was just thinking, like, to me, what that means to me today is, like, am I going to AA or am I living AA? Like, am I reading the steps or am I working the steps? It's like just a fine line of, and your life will probably get better if you're doing either of those, but not profoundly better in my case. It got profoundly better when I was like living AA and working the steps instead of reading the steps and going to AA. And then I was also thinking how I love how it starts to talk about the traditions and the principles by which we need to live. And it's like talking about us as like individuals, but also us as like the cluster of us, the group of us, and it's like I always think about the traditions as like the traditions we'll put in the book to help. Well, the steps are kind of like to save me in a way from like my best intentions. And the traditions are like to save us from our best intentions. And I like that it puts that in here because it's kind of like letting us know, like, we're like strong-willed, like people and we want to be right. You know what I mean? And I like that it's already talking about like there's going to be some it's like there's going to be some stuff that might come down and there's some things you might need to do about it. And it's pretty gentle in the approach because like anybody who's been around for a while has been in some business meetings that can be pretty dicey. So I like the traditions are right in the beginning to kind of like let us know. So great to be here. Great job, everybody. Really good to hear you, Eric and Derrick and Mary Margaret. I appreciate and love you all. Thanks.
No, thank you so much, Donna. We love you too. So at 8:45, since this is open to everybody here tonight, you can start raising your hands and we'll start calling on people who have their hands raised. And if you haven't noticed, I'm trying to go man, woman, man, woman. Please forgive me if I assume your gender. I don't mean to offend anybody if that be the case. And so that was Donna L. Where is Sean B? Yo, Sean B, you want to come on in, brother?
Yeah, what's up? What's happening, Eric? I'm Sean, alcoholic from San Francisco, California. And man, Eric, I was loving what you were saying, man, because it was so great that you pointed out, like, so many people misunderstand what's going on here that like they'll look at the alcoholic and say, why doesn't he just stop? Why, like we can make a choice to just do this on our own power, and it's just, there's so much more to that. Everybody has so much good stuff to say about going through this forwards. That we all have the common problem and there's a common solution. One time Tyler would ask me to speak on anything I wanted in the book, and I was like, I picked this. I was reading through this forwards, and where it talks about Fulton Ausler, the editor of Liberty, printed a piece in his magazine called "Alcoholics and God." And when I saw that, I had to go through this book a few times to go back and really see that, because I thought, man, I never noticed that before. And so I researched that article, and it was awesome. I would encourage anybody to check it out. But to me, that's what I've found recently going through this book, is that it's not just going to meetings, it's not just trying to stay sober on the fellowship, it's not just me on my power trying to do it for my kid, or do it because I want the job, or do it because I want to save the relationship. Like you say, Eric, all that frothy emotional appeal stuff. Even if the doctor's telling me in one more drink I'm gonna die, it doesn't matter, right? Like, I mean, the solution is in here, that I'm suffering from the spiritual malady, man. And I'm really excited to be. I love the walk Sunday meeting, and I'm so excited to be here with you and Derrick and Mary. And I seen Howard there for a second. I don't know if he's coming or not, but I'm definitely here to participate with you guys. So thank you.
Awesome, Sean. Thank you so much, brother. I'm so glad that you're here, man. I was over the moon when I saw your face, baby. So we're gonna go to the hands now because we got a bunch of hands up. So Jen P, you're up.
Hey guys, yeah, alcoholic. I have to talk really fast because I am really, really excited to be here. And yeah, I threw my hand up right away. It's like, you know what? This is really weird because I'm the only Jen in the room and I'm the only one from Philly. What is up with that? That never happens. Anyway, so when I when I first got this book, I did not read any of this shit, man. You start on page 1, right? You don't read this crap in the beginning. You know, and sure shit wasn't going to read the doctor's opinion. I think doctors are stupid because I'm a nurse, you know. I'm not reading that shit. So I'm all down around that damn book, and I'm like, why the hell is this thing not freaking changing my life? It's not changing my life. This is shit, right? I was like, contempt prior to investigation. That was me.
What are you doing?
You know, and you were saying like, you're like, why don't you just stop, right? My mother does this all the time. Why don't you just stop? Don't you love your kids enough? I'm like, of course I love my kids. I don't know why I can't stop. I had no idea. I was like, holy shit. Oh, there is another Jen. Sorry. And I didn't understand. I didn't know. I started reading the doctor's opinion with actually people that actually read it before. Imagine that. And actually, some of the stars started sinking in, and I was like, oh my God, I have an allergy. I'm sick. I'm not doing this because I'm a piece of shit. You know, I'm not weak-willed. I'm not like, this thing that, is like this derelict that just like doesn't give a crap about anybody or anything. You know, and yeah, and I was an ICU nurse for many, many years, guys, like over 20 years. And I know exactly what the hell I was going. I know exactly what that bitter end meant. I saw it, I dealt with it, I smelled it, I wrapped the bodies, put them in the morgue myself. I know exactly what was going to happen. But you know what? I was a doctor, and my red blood cells were big. Did not know that was a cause of alcohol. Does that, right? My hematologist said, Jen, I work with you. You know where you're going with this stuff. And I said, are you going to go to Alcoholics Anonymous? I said, I'm not going there. That's it. But I had to, and yeah, and I had to get God. So I had to throw that one in. But thank you so much. I'm so excited to do this. Love you guys.
No, I love you too, Jen. Thank you so much. Hey, Naomi, come on in.
Hi everyone, I'm Naomi. I'm an alcoholic. Yeah, I think you guys, I've heard some really great things, which is really, really interesting because this is my first BBA, is that what it is? BBA meeting.
There is BBA. We're not BBA though.
Okay, is this just Alcoholics Anonymous?
This is Alcoholics Anonymous. Correct.
Well, I love this meeting. This has been a great meeting. I think the one thing that I really like about this meeting that I've noticed is the honesty about us. I've heard a lot about feeling suicidal in the program. Like there came a point in my recovery where so my late fiance, when he passed away from a drug overdose, I completely immersed myself within the program. I loved AA. It got me through everything. I did not use or drink. I completely stayed sober after his passing. And I mean, I jumped in. And it was really hard because once a year kind of passed and I was bringing meetings into rehabs. I was bringing meetings into detox centers. I was working at a detox center, one of the best detox centers in the country. And it was great, but I was so miserable and I still wanted to kill myself. And I just could not understand why. And it was kind of a beautiful thing for, I moved back to the state I moved from where my fiance passed away, and I reimmersed myself into AA, but with my life as well. I think I realized that the reason why we do AA is so we can live a normal life, right? And I think I forgot that. I thought that I needed to live in AA completely in order to be okay, in order to stay sober. And I don't know, there's something recently that God has just blessed me with the realization that he's here and that everything's going to be okay. And I don't know, there's something about it. I've just been reading the forwards with my sponsor recently, and it just really made my heart grow this time when we read it and read it tonight about thinking about the amount of people that have stayed sober or like gotten us to where we're at. Thanks for letting me share. Thanks, everyone.
Awesome, Naomi. Thank you so much. We're so glad you're here. Hello, my friend Donny. Man, you're finding the energy tonight. Come on in.
Hey guys, Jody, I'm grateful recovered alcoholic, and I love saying recovered, and I love being in a group of people that knows what the heck that is. I'll tell you what. But in the second edition, what does it tell me? It tells me that another reason, not only the mending of the alcoholic and the families unit, right? But it's accepted now by medicine and religion and the press and all these things. They're backing us too. And then it tells me again in the second edition that upon therapy, I did the therapy, they had no monopoly. We have no monopoly on recovery. But if you haven't found an answer, there's an answer in this book. And then the third edition, it tells me that it doesn't matter what language it's in, it traces the exact same path to recovery, blazed by the earliest members. What? Blazed by the founders? What? And why? Because of this book, because it's a basic text, because we all read this book and we all do what's in this book. Literature. Literature. AA is about literature. We're not about coins and hats and t-shirts and all of that. We're about literature and God's word. And God's word. So the basic text of Alcoholics Anonymous is what brings us all together. I absolutely love it. Thanks for letting me talk a little bit about, because I knew nothing about this. I grew up in a group that was a 12 and 12 group. I was handed a 12 and 12 and said, if you save your money, you might need to be this other book called Alcoholics Anonymous. We might need it. But for 3.5 years, I never read the big book. I lived in 12. So I missed out on a whole lot. I was really glad when somebody walked in and changed the statement into a question and introduced me to a process called Big Book Awakening and changed my whole freaking life, man. There's God in this book. And when you read this book enough, you know what happens? For me, then black words and black letters disappeared and all that white showed up, and that was all God. God's all over every page of this book. I'm Donnie. I'm a grateful recovered alcoholic. Thanks, guys. I can't believe I'm in a book study with Eric and Derrick and my poo. I love you guys. Bye.
We love you too, Donnie. We're so glad that you're here. Please rest up and get better real soon. My brother, Tony Z, come on in, baby.
For 20 minutes off of me, right? No. Tony recovered alcoholic. Oh my God, the love in this room. Mary Margaret, you're so right. I could feel it, And thank you, Eric, for putting this on. The preface, this is a textbook, right? And they don't want any radical changes, right? Bill W. wrote this book at 3.5 years sober. We know Bill didn't write this book. God wrote this book. This is from God. 3.5 sober. I was a babbling fool. The information that's in this book. Thank God he put that information down, right? Thank God he put it in the forwards. We get to see how God connects the dots, right? It's a beautiful thing, I can't intellectualize. You give this book to a doctor, he could probably break it down beautifully. But, he can't work with another drunk like I could, right? On page 18, it says right here, but the ex-problem drinker who has found this solution, who is properly armed with the facts about himself, can generally win the entire confidence of another alcoholic in a few hours. Think about that. Give me 5 minutes. Forget hours. Until such an understanding is reached, nothing or little can be accomplished, right? I've been to doctors. I've been everywhere, right? They couldn't help me. But one alcoholic talking to another alcoholic, a recovered alcoholic who gave me my first step in the rehab, right? Because I didn't understand this book. I sat down with this man. He had the decoder ring, I like to call it. Now I have the decoder ring, and I pass it on to somebody else, and they decode the ring, right? That's why this book is so so fascinating, right? You know, and Derrick, thank you for talking about the percentages. You know, guess what? Those percentages are on page. There's also another percentage, right? On page 58, it says, "Rarely have we seen a person fail a thoroughly powerful path." And I'll shut up with this because I'm going to read it. Page 181, Dr. Bob gives us the real percentages, right? It says here, I'm 181. If you think you're an atheist or an agnostic or a skeptic or have any other form of intellectual pride which keeps you from what accepting in this book, I feel sorry for you. If you still think you are strong enough to beat the game alone, that is your affair. But if you truly and really want to quit drinking liquor for good and all, permanent recovery, and sincerely feel that you must have some help, we know we have an answer for you. And here it is, guys. It never fails, right? If you go about it with one half the zeal you have been in the habit of showing when you were getting another drink. Your Heavenly Father will never let you down. Thank you, Eric, for letting me go over.
Absolutely, baby. That was fire, buddy. I really appreciate that. Guys, just real quick, I forgot to put it in the chat earlier in the beginning of the meeting. I put two links in there, one for our YouTube channel and the other for our Facebook page. This recording will be loaded up. I'm going to have it up there tonight, and an hour after the Sunday meeting and an hour after the Thursday night meeting. You can find it on YouTube or on our Facebook channel. Joanne, come on in.
Hi, can you hear me?
Sure can.
Joanne, alcoholic. Thank you for this meeting. I thought I'd get my share in so I could stop sweating, worried about being called on. I'm gonna practice this before I get called on. So I'll speak. The forwards to the first edition, the forwards that we read, I think are just great, great information for somebody new to be given such like hard statistical data about the amount of men and women who recover, and that it's in so many languages, and it's such a powerful statistic to start somebody off on and sort of convince them that this is a great program. This is our hard data here. You did talk about living restless, irritable, and discontented. And I had no idea that that's how I lived, and that was my normal. My normal was restless, irritable, and discontent. Didn't know that I could live a different way, and that my drinking and my alcohol was just a symptom of that. But with the program and a sponsor, I am finding a spiritual solution for my restlessness, irritable, discontentness, and that hopefully with this spiritual solution, I can avoid going back out, avoid going back to the drink, because I know that to drink is to die. And with the program and practicing the principles and practicing the traditions, it will allow me to have some sort of neutrality in my life. And that this chicken soup recipe is vital for my permanent recovery. So thank you.
Thank you, Joanne. That was a great share. Thank you so much. Hello, Rose. You want to come in and take us out?
Yeah, sure. I'm Rose. I'm an alcoholic. And oh gosh, I love this meeting, and I love seeing you both, Mary and Derrick, and the fact that like what a vision of hope, right? To see you both as recovered alcoholics and doing this, carrying the message together. You're full of so much love and light, and it's just amazing for us to see when we're in a place of, getting started. I'm like I said, I'm about 107 days into my recovery right now. And I'm so grateful that God has brought me into these rooms right now. My sponsors in this room, Trina, and yeah, I think I don't even know. I'm taking you all out, and now I'm all intimidated and stressed out. I think really what I want to say is, my life was extremely unmanageable. I was hopeless. I despaired. if I had not stopped drinking, I probably would have been taking my life, you know? And it was really, really dark. And then my higher power brought me into these rooms. My higher power kept me alive that whole time when I was out there drinking. Um, and I got into these rooms, and then it's just been like small miracles one after another, you know? And I go through something really tough and I manage to stay sober, and then I get through it and I recognize and I learn that I don't have to drink again. Like I am starting to get tools through this program, and I'm starting to do some work. I started on some inventory today with Trina, and that's already so amazing. Like it's like this big weight is starting to lift off of me. Like I feel like I'm actually having that spiritual awakening right now, you know? So like when you say like we're 100 men and women who've recovered from a hopeless state of mind, I almost feel like I am kind of there, but I'm so scared to say that because, you know, I still have so much work to do, right? I have to get through all my steps. But like I feel it. Like I don't want to drink today, right? That's already like it's a miracle. I feel like this program is a miracle, and I'm so grateful to be here, and I just hope that I can continue doing the work, and I'm really looking forward to learning with all of you, and I hope that I can pass on the message to other alcoholics later as well. Thank you.
Oh, that was a fantastic share. We are so glad you're here, and you're on fire. You're doing great, man. Don't question it. I can remember when I was lit on fire. I was nervous. I didn't want to say anything because I thought I was going to jinx it, you know. But here's the thing: what God does cannot be undone. That's the reality. And if God's moved in my life and He's removed that obsession, as long as I stick and stay, it will not be undone. I am in a safe place, right? I'm placed in that position of neutrality. Just keep writing your inventory, keep doing this, keep sticking, stay close to Trina. You're going to be A-okay. We got 3 minutes left, so we do have time for one more share. I misjudged that. Does anybody else want to come in real quick?
I'll come in for a sec, Aaron. Oh,
Yeah, come on in,
sorry.
come on.
Hi guys, Trina. I'm very grateful, recovered alcoholic. Um, yeah, I love that everyone else got to reiterate what I've been telling Rose. So it's like it's not only me. Yeah, I love the Fords just because, um, you know, if you hear other people or the doctors like, oh, there's no proof that AA works or this or that, and it's like the proof's right there. Like the numbers don't lie. And then the other thing I love about the Forward is one of my favorite passages. You know, is that it indicates the strenuous work one alcoholic with another is vital to permanent recovery. Like I love the language, like vital. You know what vital means? Like has to happen. Permanent means no relapse. You know, and like what you were saying about precisely how we recovered. Precisely, not kind of, sorta, you know, and I have to really watch myself when I'm in rooms with other people that don't have aren't really big book enthusiasts, and I'm like, you know, it's precisely how it's a textbook. It's like, yes, we have the same number of steps, but you know, I don't know, I get really um not possessive over the big book, but it's like when people say, oh, everyone can get to the same solution in one thing, and it's like, okay, but you know, you can tell like who's happy, joyous, and free, and who's living the life. Like, you know, and I loved what you guys said about, you know, be the message for that person. You know, I'm by the way, we're the 51 states. There are Canadians here too. And most of us are in Mexico actually right now. And then just oh, now I got distracted. Where I was going with that precisely. But
You're talking about being the message. Being the message.
Oh yeah, carrying the message. You know, I'm from a little place up in Canada, and you know, I hate to say it, but the only thing we have is like I call them dead cat meetings. Like there's no big book, there's no speaker meetings, there's, you know, and I feel so sad that, you know, people come in and they think that AA is the meeting. Like, and I'm just like, you know, I have to go and like share the message of the big book and the actual solution and the three sides of the triangle. That, and again, I would only have this with BBA, and I'd only have this with other people that have showed me too, because I was the same. I was just a fellowship person until I knew the real solution. So love you all. Thank you so much. I can't wait to see you guys all next week.
Trina, thank you so much. We love you too. Guys, what a fantastic meeting. I want to extend a thank you to everybody in the room tonight and everybody who was here and left here. Thank you so much for coming and joining us here tonight and participating and collaborating with us on this journey. This meeting is much yours as it is mine, Derek's, and Mary Margaret's. So we're really glad that you're here and that you've been participating in this. And it wouldn't be a walk-to-walk meeting if we didn't close out. It wouldn't be a walk-to-walk meeting if Eric couldn't find his opening here. What did I do with it? I do it every single time. Forgive me. Hang in there. Oh my God. So if you saw how many windows I have open, you'd say, well, you'd say, oh, you know what? I can go back over here. Okay, this is where I'm going to read it from here. In closing, I want to say thank you to everybody. I've already done that. And a special thanks to a few people. Without these folks, I don't know if AA would exist or what it would even look like. So I want to thank Dr. Carl Young, Dr. Silkworth, Reverend Sam Shoemaker, Frank Buckman for the Oxford Group, Roland Hazard, Ebby Thatcher, Bill and Lois Wilson, Henrietta Cyberling, Dr. Bob and Ann Smith, Sister Ignatia, Bill Dotson, Hank Parkhurst, Jim Burwell, Fitz Mayo, Folston Alster, editor of the Liberty Magazine, John D. Rockefeller Jr., and Jack Alexander of the Saturday Evening Post. And please let us remember as we go out from here that the only time we look down on another alcoholic is when we're going to reach down and help lift them up. And with that, is there anyone here this evening who would be willing to read page 164? Anybody? Just show me your page.
I'll do it. I'll do it.
Okay, Jen, it's you. Then Sean, will you take us out with the Lord's Prayer? Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Jen, whenever you're ready.
Okay. I am getting there. All right. I think let's see if I can I don't want to try to do it from memory. So okay, here we go. You want abandon yourself, or you want to start our book? The last two paragraphs?
Our book.
Okay. Our book is meant to be suggestive only. We realize we know only a little. God will constantly disclose more to you and to us. Ask him in your morning meditation what you can do each day for the man who is still sick. The answers will come if your own house is in order, but obviously you cannot transmit something you haven't got. See to it that your relationship with him is right, and great events will come to pass for you and for countless others. This is the great fact for us. Abandon yourself to God as you understand God. Admit your faults to him and to your fellows. Clear away the wreckage of your past. Give freely of what you find and join us. We shall be with you in this fellowship of the Spirit, and you will surely meet some of us as you trudge the road of happy destiny. May God bless you and keep you until then. Amen.
Amen.
Great.
Johnny B, come on in, brother.
All right, great meeting, everybody. Okay, who's Father? Our Father, Lord in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen.
One in the bag, baby. We did.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Eric.
Good job,
I have been here
guys. Good
before.
job.
Thanks,
Good
Eric.
job.
Thank you.
Thank
Great
you.
job.
Thank you for a fantastic
Derek.
meeting.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you,
Margaret.
Eric.
Thank
Derek,
you
and
all.
Mary
Thank
Margaret.
you.
Thank you,
See you
Miss
next
Margaret.
week.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Derek. I do
Bye,
remember
guys.
being here, Eric.
Put me in my double emoji to bed. I'll see you guys next week.
Yeah,
Yes.
you too,
Derek,
Derek.
get some rest.
Love you.
I'll be
Thanks,
back.
guys.
Love
Bye-bye.
y'all.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye,
Bye,
Maureen. Hey, Maureen.
Hey,
Maureen, love
See
you,
you
Derek,
girl.
guys.
Hey, Selena.
Margaret, fabulous.
Selena, you didn't have your
Selena.
camera on. Man, I was
Andy.
we needed to hear you tonight too, Selena. You had your camera off, didn't
Yeah, she had it
Yeah.
on for a
you?
minute.
Oh man, you were
Turned
sleeping
it
on it. All
off.
right, I'm gonna get you
No,
next.
I wasn't. You know what happened is I had back surgery in October,
Yeah.
and so every now and then I have to lay down.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Same.
And so
Yeah.
it doesn't feel good like laying down, on camera. So it's like I like to sit
Yeah.
up.
Hey,
Yeah.
Selena.
I'll
Me
just
too.
turn her.
Diane.
I'll see you
Yeah.
guys.
Good night,
Good
everybody.
night. Sunday.
Good night, you
Thursday,
guys.
before.
Going to the next.
That's
Mary,
it.
are you guys going to Tennessee this year?
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
I will
right.
be.
Cool.
we
Hey, Jen, you
are.
going to the big one?
Which one? The international one?
Yeah.
No. I'm
Okay.
doing
You're not,
South.
you're not allowed in Canada?
I
Well, I
got
know
some big fellas probably can't give up.
you got some people probably Canada, but not on that side.
Man.
I
everybody.
know Sarah McLaughlin.
Like,
I could ask her if I could stay with
Exactly.
her.
Good
I don't
seeing you,
think I'm
Derek.
allowed in Canada.
What?
I don't think you're allowed either.
Yeah.
I think
I'm
I think
good.
you stop
Eric,
at the
I
border
love you.
like
Bye bye.
I love you too. Jen, good to see you. Thank you guys. Mary
Yes.
Margaret, I'll give you and Derek a call.
Okay.
Thank you
Love
guys.
y'all.
Awesome.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
I got to end the recording.